Something enormous walks past a tent, towering over two grown men in the exact same spot. One trail camera captures something so strange that people are still arguing about it nearly 20 years later. And a trail camera in Missouri captures a figure in a creek several feet taller and wider than a 6-foot man standing in the exact same spot. This is more trail camera footage that could finally prove Bigfoot exists. That looks like a Sasquatch walking past a tent if I've ever seen one. And look at this. Right on that exact same trail camera, two men had walked by the exact same spot about half an hour earlier. Look at the size difference. Here's the two men superimposed over the clip with the Sasquatch creature. This gives you an even better look at how big this thing is. The footage came from a camper named Ronald Von Bering, who sent it to the YouTube channel Rocky Mountain Sasquatch. It was filmed up in the Sierra Nevadas in California, a known Bigfoot hotspot, right up there with Bluff Creek, where the famous Patterson-Gimlin film was shot back in 1967. Speaking of the Patty film, this video got picked up by another large Sasquatch channel called Bigfoot Evidence. A representative from the channel called it some of the best footage available, saying, quote, "If this isn't up there with the Patty, then it's probably some of the most impressive footage out there." This game cam footage was shared online by the Squatch watchers back in January of this year. They also compared it to the Patterson-Gimlin footage. Now, the quality here isn't great, partly because it was captured on a trail camera, also because the video is zoomed in. This thing was pretty far off in the distance. Even taking that into consideration though, there's a lot you notice. Look at the creature's gait, the way it swings its arms, how big and bulky it is. What do you think about this one? Is this someone in a very convincing costume, or is this some genuine Sasquatch footage? Let us know down in the comments. A blurry trail camera photo surfaced on the Cryptid sighting blog way back in September 4th, 2016, out of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. It shows a creature standing next to a barrel covered in black fur, with long legs and hunched over so far, its torso and face are completely hidden. There was a ton of online debate at the time over whether someone had finally captured the UP's legendary Bigfoot on camera, or if there was a more simple explanation. See, Bigfoot researchers in the area have tons of unresolved reports. According to the Upper Peninsula Bigfoot Sasquatch Research Organization, a driver traveling through light fog around 7 a.m. near South Branch reported seeing a massive shape by the road. The driver initially thought it looked like someone wearing a ghillie suit. The driver was an experienced hunter who described the figure as thick and wide and all black. He knew it wasn't a bear because he figured once it started moving, especially when it went into the ditch, well, it should have gone down on all fours. He slowed down as he passed the location, and to his surprise, there was no trail or driveway. A hunter in a ghillie suit didn't make sense, since it was not hunting season yet either. Sightings like this have built up over decades in the Upper Peninsula. The concentration of claims is high enough that Animal Planet even filmed an episode of Finding Bigfoot there back in 2013. This story comes from Strasburg, Ohio, after a magazine editor named Michael Nasvati got a tip and a deer cam photo showing what looked like a Sasquatch-type creature walking past the lens. Nasvati sent one of his reporters out to the property to investigate. The property owner, who wanted to stay anonymous, brought the reporter inside to look at the original file alongside normal photos of deer taken by the same camera for scale. Whatever stepped in front of that lens definitely wasn't a deer. Stood roughly 6 feet tall, walked upright with a human-like arm swing, and had limbs far too thick to belong to any local wildlife. The camera only triggered on heat and motion, and even fast-moving deer in low light didn't create anything close to the massive blur seen in the photo. The owner also pointed out the camera's infrared flash in low light washes out color, meaning the creature might not actually be white like it appears in the shot. They headed out to the exact spot in the woods where the camera was mounted. The location was deep in the far corner of the property, making a practical joke pretty unlikely too. The only people who even knew the camera was there were a few friends who'd been over for New Year's Eve. The reporters scanned the area for typical Sasquatch signs like stick structures, footprints, or a smell. Fortunately though, fresh snow from the night before had covered up any ground tracks. This creepy image popped up on Reddit from a user named Adjacent Gunman, taken on a trail cam right on his property. It's pretty tough to figure out what you're looking at, but it seems to show a massive figure holding a coyote right by the throat. When you brighten the image, two eyes clearly reflect back out of the pitch black woods, but the rest of its body completely blends into the dark. If it is some kind of Sasquatch, whatever it is, has jet black fur. A lot of people in the comments figured it was probably just a hunter trespassing, but the guy who posted it says, well, that doesn't make any sense. Judging by where those eyes lined up against his cabin in the background, this thing had to be around 8 feet tall. If you look at the coyote, the limbs look really stiff and angular, almost like it was photoshopped into the shot, but, and again, it's hard to tell if it's an edit or if the creature's body is just blocking out parts of the animal. There's a good chance you've seen this image before. And this one. The image has gained a ton of attention on the cryptid side of the internet because you just can't quite tell what this thing is. The case goes back to September 16th, 2007 in northwest Pennsylvania. A hunter named R. Jacobs set up an automatic trail camera on a remote game trail to scout for deer season. One image captured a pair of bear cubs, but a few minutes later the camera triggered twice more, capturing the strange, dark figure that researchers dubbed the Jacobs creature. The Pennsylvania Game Commission put out a statement claiming it was just a bear with severe mange, but Bigfoot researchers and even a few zoo veterinarians weren't so quick to agree, pointing out the creature's posture and body shape look much more like a primate. In the second photo, the animal has its face pressed to the ground to smell some attractant that Jacobs had placed there. The BFRO, Bigfoot Researchers Organization, pointed out that when a bear or a dog sniffs the ground, it doesn't drop into that kind of crouch, whereas apes naturally take that exact pose. Later, a professor in Vermont analyzed the photos as well, comparing the torso to limb ratios of the creature against actual bears and primates. In his analysis, there's a significant statistical gap between bear proportions and what was captured in this image. Because the creature appears to be under 5 feet tall, a lot of cryptid researchers think this could have been a juvenile Sasquatch. Apparently, unlike full-grown Bigfoots, which walk upright, of course, young ones are often reported moving quadrupedly or awkwardly shifting between 2 and 4 legs. I didn't know that. Look at this image. What a size difference here. This report comes out of Butler County, Missouri from August 20th, 2025. A landowner set up a cellular trail camera on his family farm. He wasn't even trying to hunt or film wildlife. He just wanted to monitor water levels in the creek so his kayaks wouldn't wash away during heavy rains. At 12:30 p.m. on a bright sunny afternoon, his phone chimed with a motion alert. When he opened the notification, he saw a massive brown and black figure standing on 2 legs right in the middle of the creek, facing the camera. He immediately opened the camera's live feed 10 to 15 seconds later, but the creature was already out of frame. Because the camera was set to standard resolution to save battery and signal, he didn't have a high-def image, but the size alone was pretty crazy. After work, he went down to the creek with his 6-foot-tall brother, mind you, to recreate the photo. And standing in the exact same spot, his brother didn't even cover half the background that the figure did in the original shot. He estimated the creature had to have been several feet taller than 6 feet and 2 to 3 times wider. They searched the area for tracks. Unfortunately, they didn't find any, but the creek bed was made of thick, like fist-sized gravel, and with the flowing water, footprints were going to be pretty unlikely. The property is heavily fenced, apparently private, extremely remote, about a 3/4 mile trek through dense woods from the nearest road, no history of trespassers. The landowner also said that while they'd heard strange howls in the valley for years and always assumed they were coyotes, neighbors have shared similar stories of seeing what they believe to be a Bigfoot in the area. And finally, these game cam images were posted to Reddit by user Jim James Jimothy, who wrote, "This camera is on a tree, leaning at almost 40 degrees on the bottom, 9 feet up from the ground. I do it this way to prevent interference from bears. I can't explain how a bear would dangle on the tree in front of my camera and only get this shot." Later, it was sending photos with nothing. The tree wasn't swaying, it's a very large tree, and no wind that day. High Cascades near Crater Lake National Park. Very remote, little human activity in the area. I hike far in. No bear here is that tall either. Fur is going up and down. Has me stumped. Well, with all that said, that's been the video, and I will catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next one.